Fucking A. As much as I think this place has a little charm to it, there just is not enough traffic. I will go somewhere with more traffic. And in the meantime, I can do a little march and chant of some sort. Well, yeah, it's very cold. So this is more like a symbolic protest, standing in solidarity, thinking about all the individuals in animal agriculture, and trying to get others to think, if even for a second, sometimes more than they have. Yeah, I don't know. Every animal is an individual. Humans are herbivores. If you're not a vegan, you're an animal abuser. Please watch Dominion.com or listen to Gary Yourofsky's The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear. All animals are individuals. They have a subjective experience. Human beings are herbivores. We thrive on a plant-based diet. If you're not vegan, you are an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals on the planet. Please listen to Gary Yourofsky's The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear. Maybe start off with Darius Scary on YouTube. Every animal is an individual. They're all sentient. They have a brain, a central nervous system, and pain receptors. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. Human beings are herbivores. You can look it up. Everything about us is herbivorous. If you're not vegan, you are an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals on the planet. Every animal is an individual. They all have subjective experiences. Plants do not. Humans are herbivores. We don't need anything from anybody's body. If you are not a vegan, you are an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals, violating their rights for nothing more than greed. Every animal is an individual. They all have subjective experiences. They have personhood. They are aware and self-aware. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. Human beings are herbivores. The most measured and healthiest human being on the planet is a vegan. We evolved from monkeys. Our brains run on sugar. We have allomays in our saliva, long intestinal tracts. Human beings are herbivores. Every animal is an individual. If you're not vegan, you are an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals, like a chomo pedo. Every animal is an individual. They all have their own subjective experiences. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. Human beings are herbivores. We thrive on a vegan diet. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. A wolf in sheep's clothing, pretending that you're not pretending that you're an animal lover, yet you ever realize we only love the animals we don't eat. Every animal is an individual. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect. Human beings are herbivores. We are a plant-eating species. And there's nothing wrong with that. We don't have to be lions or tigers. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals on the planet, supporting the most cruel injustice, exploitation, violence, and murder. I want to ask you to look into this stuff. Watch Dairy is Scary. WatchDomain.com. Gary Yourofsky is the best speech you'll ever hear. It's very easy. Just Google best speech you'll ever hear. Vegan. Human beings are herbivores. Every animal is an individual. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. They are suffering and dying because of your choices. There's absolutely nothing that we need from any other animal. The only thing any vegan ever regrets is not doing it sooner. Every animal is an individual. Human beings are herbivores. We are not omnivores. If you're not vegan, you are an animal abuser. Think about your victims, use some empathy, and take responsibility for your actions. These are the most vulnerable and innocent individuals who have never harmed you or violated you in any way, shape, or form. The least we can do is return the favor. Every animal is an individual with their own subjective experience. They have personhood, memories, dreams. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. Humans are herbivores. Harvard Nun Study, Oxford Vegan Vegetarian Meat Eater Study, Seventh-day Adventist Study 1 and 2. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, over 100,000 credentialized practitioners. Siri, Alexa, AI, Google, they all agree. Look into it. If you are not a vegan, you are an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals on the planet, violating their rights, treating them like property, commodifying them, objectifying them. Every animal is an individual. It's very easy to be a human being and ignore them. Nobody's going to tell you the real reality, which is that you have actual victims, innocent, sweet little angels that are losing their minds, losing their lives for nothing than a few minutes of sensory pleasure or a bad decision. Every animal is an individual. Human beings are herbivores. If you are not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. Please look into it. Watch Dairy is Scary. WatchDomain.com. YouTube, Gary Yourofsky is the best speech you'll ever hear. Every animal is an individual. They have a subjective experience, a brain, a central nervous system, pain receptors. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect. They value their own life just as much as we do, and they do not want to die for a sandwich any more than you would want to die for a sandwich, for somebody else to eat your body. Please remember your victims. Human beings are herbivores. There's absolutely nothing that we need from anybody else's body. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. Don't forget your victims. There are real consequences to our actions. Every animal is an individual, their own subjective experience. It's not just the animals we love. Every single one of them deserves protection, dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. And human beings are herbivores. You want to look this up. You are a plant eater. We evolved from monkeys, and there's nothing wrong with that. We thrive on a plant-based diet, but veganism isn't about your health. You gotta be selfish. It's about being altruistic. being responsible, and having the consciousness and awareness of our actions. Every animal is an individual. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. They all have a subjective experience. They have personhood, memories, dreams, desires, and they value their one life. Human beings are herbivores. You might want to look this up. We are plant eaters. Eating animal products actually kills us. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. No better than someone who takes advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent human beings, except these individuals are from a different species. Every animal is an individual. They all have their own subjective experience and deserve dignity and freedom and rights. Human beings are herbivores. We are plant eaters. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. You are paying someone to kill someone for a product. Every single animal is an individual. Human beings are herbivores. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals on the planet. Don't forget your victims. There's nothing more dangerous and destructive that a human being can do with their lives than take advantage of the animals. Every animal is an individual. They all deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect. Human beings are herbivores. There is no reason for us to be doing this in 2025. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. It appears that you only care about doing the right thing when it benefits you. Being vegan is being altruistic. It's keeping your victims in mind. It's recognizing that our group is not that special and that all of the suffering that goes into animal products is absolutely disgraceful. It's the most shameful, disgusting thing about us human beings. It really is. That's why we don't advertise it. We don't show it. You're never going to see the truth. You have to find it yourself. Human beings are herbivores. Every animal is an individual. A bunch of herbivores eating individuals. We're animal abusers. If you would have a problem with someone treating you like an animal, then how about not treating them that way? They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood because they are sentient, aware, self-aware. Every animal is an individual. Human beings are not that special. We do not have the right to abuse, enslave, exploit, or murder them. If you are not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. You are willingly, enthusiastically paying someone to kill someone for you, just because they're different. Yet all human beings are herbivores, and every animal is an individual. They have personhood, their own thoughts and feelings and desires. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. If you are not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. You are willfully, enthusiastically, knowingly paying someone to kill someone for you just because everybody else is doing it and it's convenient. Did you know you're an herbivore? Human beings are plant eaters. We are herbivores. They are all conscious. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. There's no difference. And if you take my cats and throw them on the barbecue and slit their throat just because you're more strong than they are. Every animal is an individual. Human beings are herbivores. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. How would you like being treated the way you treat your victims? It wouldn't be very nice. It wouldn't be very humane to treat a person the way we treat individuals from other species. Every animal is an individual. Human beings are herbivores. That changes everything. In reality, if you're not a vegan, you're an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals on the planet. They are not objects, they're not commodities, machines. They do not belong to us. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. Human beings are herbivores. You've all been lied to. You're not lions. You don't need anything from any animal. If you are not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. Think about how you would like to be treated the way you treat your victims. Every animal is an individual. Human beings are herbivores. We get sick when we eat animal products, and we thrive on a vegan diet. If you're not a vegan, you're an animal abuser. I don't know what happened with everybody's ethics in 2005 when we realized that we are all herbivores. You can look this up, very easy peasy. And all animals are individuals with their own subjective experience. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. Human beings are not that special. They do not deserve to oppress, exploit, or murder individuals for a sandwich or for some kind of product. Every animal is an individual. They are just like us in all the ways that count. Human beings are herbivores. As Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Cornell, Stanford University, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, over 100,000 credentialized practitioners that study a lifetime on this. Humans are herbivores. Every animal is an individual. They're all conscious, aware, and self-aware. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser, ignoring the most maddening injustice on the planet just because it's so easy to do what everybody else does. Every animal is an individual. They're all sentient. It's not just cats and dogs and bunnies and horses. It's pigs and fish and chickens and lamb. They all deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser, taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals. Please watch Dominion.com, YouTube Darius Scary, or check out The Best Speech by Gary Yourofsky. Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're talking about the world's forgotten victims, the animals, the world's oldest and strongest addiction, meat. I'm going to challenge your belief systems today, so certain parts of the protest may be intense. Let me start with a quick disclaimer. I'm not here to be your enemy. I'm not trying to take you away from your religion. No religion mandates meat eating. The golden rule states, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Non-human individuals qualify as others. And thou shalt not kill, the four most important yet most ignored words in all religious teachings. There's not an asterisk next to that commandment saying, thou shalt not kill unless you walk on all fours, have horns, feathers, fur, beaks, or gills. We're speaking for around 65, maybe 70 minutes. Then we'll do a Q&A, so hold your questions until then. In the meantime, I have some rhetorical questions for you. Is slavery, owner, victim, profit, domination exclusive to the human race? Have blacks, Jews, women, and children been the only victims of these atrocities? Have not the cows been enslaved? What about pigs, chickens, turkeys, and lamb? If they are not our slaves, then what are they, free? Does slavery have a victim that is neither human nor non-human animal? Have not the forests, the oceans, the very earth itself become victims of ownership too? And what about a slaughterhouse? Yeah, we forget about a house of slaughterhouse. Besides psychological and physical abuse, torture, dismemberment, and murder, what else do you think happens inside of a slaughterhouse? You think they all get belly rubs and tushy slaps? If you think there's such a thing as humane slaughter, I'm curious, is there such a thing as humane rape? Humane child molestation? Humane slavery? How about a humane Holocaust? In fact, what is your definition of a Holocaust? Is it a massacre of human beings or a massacre of innocent beings? I thought it was innocent, which brings us to the biggest Holocaust massacre of all. Every year, without mercy, we murder 80 billion land animals and 3 trillion marine animals. Now, for health, survival, sustenance, or self-defense, people eat meat, cheese, milk, and eggs for 4 reasons: habit, tradition, convenience, and taste. I know why people do it. I did it myself for 25 years. Used to wear leather shoes and belts and jackets like everybody else. In fact, around 20 years ago, I even owned a fur coat. Needless to say, I understand your lifestyle. It used to be mine. For people involved in politics, I'm not a Democrat, anarchist, Republican, socialist, fascist, or some hippie with a closet full of tie-dye shirts. I'm an activist. Root word is active. Banned from 5 countries so far, arrested 13 times, committing random acts of kindness and compassion on behalf of my animal brothers and sisters. If you'd like to read up about that, check out the website 88ptt.org, adapt.org. Today, I'd love to give you a chance to actually do something and truly get involved. Because I understand a lot of people want to get involved, really I do. But putting a coexist bumper sticker on your car, wearing a What Would Jesus Do bracelet, or a Peace and Love and Sunshine t-shirt, it is not getting involved. I understand we're all on a journey in life. We all have different likes and dislikes, nationalities and religions too. There's one thing we need to have in common with each other, and that's peace. Genuine compassion and genuine peace towards our planetary companions. Contrary to political and religious dogma, individuals from other species, they do not belong to us. They are not property, they're not commodities, they are not machines. That archaic Descartes Cartesian way of looking at other individuals from other species like they're machines is outdated and, quite frankly, 100% insane. Because if we all understand that all individuals from all the species use their eyes to see, ears to hear, legs to walk, feathers to fly, fins to swim, genitalia to procreate, and bowels to defecate, I'm always perplexed why most people don't believe that they can use their brains to think, to feel, to be rational, aware, and self-aware. Am I supposed to believe that every body part of a non-human individual functions exactly the way it's supposed to, except the brain? Those lies are thick, and the propaganda from the animal abusers is enormous. I mean, when's the last time you turned on the TV, saw a commercial for shiitake mushrooms? People singing and dancing down the street, having a good time, eating mushrooms. What about alfalfa sprouts or quinoa, raspberries, radishes? No, you don't see that stuff advertised on TV. What do you see instead? Have some more meat, have some more cheese, have some more cheese with your meat. Meat, cheese, double cheese, extra cheese. How about a little bit more cheese with your meat? Have some more eggs, have some more cow's milk. What do you see interspersed between those advertisements? Oh, not feeling so well. Need a cancer specialist? How about a heart doctor? Eat some diet pills, some energy drinks, some kaopeptate, Tums, Pepto-Bismol. You've been duped. They are literally killing you. They're killing the non-human individuals, and they're killing this entire planet. We all got blinders on, nice and tightly. But if you give me an open mind today, and that's all I ask for is just an open mind, I'll take your blinders right off. My goal is simple. All I want to do is reconnect people with non-human individuals. Reawaken some feelings, some emotions that have been intentionally buried and suppressed by our meat-eating society. The reason I say reconnect you with animals is because at one point in time, every person here used to be a real animal liberation activist, a true friend to the animal kingdom. And that's when we were little. When we were kids, man, we used to be in awe of animals. They used to make us laugh and giggle and smile. They'd make us pretty happy. And there was a time in our lives when we were little kids that we'd do just about anything in the world to make them happy as well, to protect them from cruelty, to at least acknowledge the cruelty they were receiving. I mean, if somebody were mean to an animal in front of us when we were all kids, we would have cried and screamed because we used to understand the difference between right from wrong when it came to the treatment of non-human individuals. Before somebody told us and taught us differently. You better believe somebody told us to ignore their suffering, to mock and excuse their pain and their misery, to make fun of their very existence. Something I want you to focus on today, tomorrow, and beyond. What in the hell happened along the way? Who taught us to be so mean, nasty, vicious, and hateful or indifferent towards individuals from all species when they used to be our friends? These are innocent victims that have never harmed you or violated you in any way, shape, or form. The least we could do is return the favor. Want to define a word that may be new to some people right now? It's vegan. Vegans, like vegetarians, do not consume the meat of any land or marine animals. We also, unlike vegetarians, don't consume any eggs, honey, milk, secretions. We don't wear animal skins, fur, leather, wool, silk, or down. And we don't exploit them for entertainment or testing. We literally just recognize that they have their own value. We don't have to assign a value or a purpose for them. And we just leave animals alone. Because I'm pretty sure we can all agree on one thing right now. Hatred in its purest form is a learned behavior. Racism, sexism, heterosexism, anti-Semitism, misogyny, transphobia, these are all learned behaviors. When kids are 2 or 4 years old playing on the playground, they could not care less about the color of their friend's skin or their religious background. There's no doubt that hatred in its purest form is learned. So speciesism, that may be a new word to a lot of people. It's species with an ism attached to it. Just like racism or sexism, I want to define speciesism as an unethical, unprincipled point of view that the human species has every right to exploit, oppress, and murder another species. All because we believe our species is so more special, so more superior than all the other ones. Humans are the only ones that count, and we're the only ones that matter. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that line of thinking, that thought process, that is the basis of all forms of discrimination. One group thinking and saying they're more special than everyone else, then they proceed to exploit them, oppress them, deny them the right to be free. They enslave them in many cases, they treat them like property, and in many other cases, they murder them with premeditation and without penalty. Understand something essential about discrimination. It's never okay to be picking and choosing which forms of discrimination to be opposed to, which ones to say are evil, racism, which ones to say are okay, speciesism. Discrimination is evil on its foundation, or it's not. You cannot have this both ways, folks. It does not work like that. What I'm asking you to do is use some empathy right now. What I mean by empathy is place yourselves in the position of your victims. Start to view this issue from the non-human individual's point of view, from your victim's point of view. Because when you examine any form of injustice, whether human animals are the victims or non-human animals are the victims, always remember the victim's point of view. Because when you're not the victim, it's pretty easy to rationalize and excuse cruelty, inequality, injustice, and even murder. But when you're the victim, things look a lot differently from that angle. I want to ask you to watch Dominion.com. Don't close your eyes or turn away during WatchDominion.com. If you do choose to close your eyes or turn away during WatchDominion.com, you might want to ask yourself a question. If slaughterhouse footage, animal agriculture isn't good enough for my eyes, then why is it good enough for my stomach? You ever wonder why McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and KFC never show you those images in their TV ads? Instead, they show you smiling cartoon characters of animals singing and dancing, lying to you, brainwashing you, and programming you not to care about things that you used to care about, things that you would ordinarily care about. Right now, this very moment on our highways, there are no less than 5,000 concentration camp trucks. Inside these trucks, there are living, terrified, innocent individuals, cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, sheep, lamb. These trucks are being driven to concentration camp slaughterhouses we carefully constructed all across the country. When your victims arrive, they don't get off the trucks. They're not stupid. They know what's next. So when you buy animal products, you're paying someone to get on these trucks on your behalf and taser these sweet little angels in the face to force them down the chutes to their own death. In other words, they go in alive against their will and come out chopped up into hundreds of pieces. You want to know what's more insane than that? Meat eaters walking around like their lifestyle isn't causing any harm, like it's normal and natural to be consuming violence and death. How would you feel if the day that you were born, somebody else had already planned the day of your execution? That's what it's like to be a cow, a pig, or a chicken, reduced to a number on this planet. I think this type of behavior is inexcusable and it's unbecoming of a species that claims to understand the difference between right from wrong. What's so frustrating to me when I travel this country doing 250 lectures a year to some 75,000 university students is everybody talks a good game about how peaceful they are. People always want to tell me, never show me, just tell me. Hey, I believe in God and angels and I pray all the time, and those earthquakes in Chile and Haiti, oh, they were so sad. Well, no shit, it's sad, since when does feeling sad about an obvious tragedy make somebody a good person or make the world a better place? Now look, folks, I'm not trying to dog you out when I talk like this. I'm not. I'm just not a politician. I'm not a bullshit artist. I don't know how to schmooze people, as you can tell. It's kind of beyond me. Hope you appreciate my honesty and my genuineness today. I'm not a salesperson. I got no books to sell you, no DVDs, no collection plate going around. I don't want your money. I don't want your email address, and I don't want your mailing address. You can keep all that stuff. I'm here to talk about the worst form of cruelty and violence on the planet, even though most people don't seem to care about it. But when you sit back in the comfort of your living room and you start condemning atrocities elsewhere, that is hypocrisy. It's a double standard. It is pure, unadulterated lip service. Now, veganism, this is your chance to actually walk the compassionate talk that everybody's always talking about. This is your chance to show others how truly peaceful you are. This is your chance for a personal revolution, to leave your mark on this planet by causing the least amount of harm possible. Now, come on, what is the argument for not causing the least amount of harm? Apathy, selfishness, indifference, inconvenience? I want you to know I don't live in fantasy land. I'm well aware that individuals from all species are suffering and dying just because we're here on this planet with them. We build homes for their habitats, pollute and destroy their environments. Is there any reason we need to be eating them on top of it all? Talk about pouring salt into somebody else's wound. 98%, and I repeat that stat, 98% of all the individuals harmed and abused and murdered and killed on this planet are killed and abused in the animal agriculture industry, the fishing, meat, dairy, and egg industries. This is where all the harm is taking place. And in our country, from birth until death, each non-vegan will consume 3,000 land animals and tens of thousands of marine animals. That's a Department of Agriculture stat. We seem to do this because we've all been told that it's normal, natural, that we're meat eaters and we're supposed to be doing this. Are you aware that physiologically the human body is actually 100% herbivorous? We are plant eaters. We evolved from monkeys. We are great apes, just like our cousins, bonobos, gorillas, chimpanzees. They're all herbivores. Our blood gets acidic when we take in animal protein because we're herbivores. Our intestines are long, 13 to 7 times the length of our torso, our trunk. And they're pupulated, and they require fiber, which is only found in plants, which we die from with colitis if we don't have in our diet. The intestines of real meat eaters, hyenas, bears, lions, and tigers, and coyotes, very short digestive system, only 3 to 6 times the length of their torso. That's so they can quickly push through rotting and decaying animal flesh, saturated fat, trans fatty acids, and animal protein. Our jaws go from side to side like a moo cow. If your jaw is not locked into your skull, you are an herbivore. Our teeth are short, broad, flat, and blunt. Before somebody bursts out, hey, what about these canines, dog? Nearly all herbivores have canines, molars, and incisors. It would be impossible for us, to be eating hard fruits like apple without those teeth. We have hexagonal receptors in our eyes. Only us herbivores see in full color. That's so we can tell when an apple gets old and it becomes ripe and ready to eat. What happens to your victims like fish, cows, pigs, and chickens when they get old? They get old because they are just like us. We have alamays in our saliva. Again, only herbivores have this, which means we're supposed to be eating a ton of carbs and plants and vegetables. Our mouth and throat opening relative to head size is very small. That's why 98% of choking fatalities happen when non-vegans try to eat meat and pretend they're Tyrannosaurus Rex. Our saliva is alkaline, so is our urine, and our livers are acidic. That is literally the opposite of an acidic saliva and urine, an alkaline liver of a meat eater. Our tongues are smooth, they're not rough. We sleep 8 hours a day, not 20. We have an offspring of about 2. We have about 2 nipples, not 6 or 8. Our brains run on sugar, not fat and protein. We literally get sick and die when we eat animal products. Brian Johnson is the world's most measured and healthiest human being. He reduced his biological speed of aging to 0.48 chronological years. And he's vegan. So you got the world's healthiest and most measured human being who only ages 6 months for every year. And people are still throwing the argument at me that veganism will kill you. Ask Harvard, Cambridge, Cornell, Stanford University, the Nun study, the Seventh-day Adventist study 1 and 2, the China study, the vegan meat eaters, vegetarians study in Oxford. These are hundreds of thousands of people monitored for decades. And the conclusion is always the same, which is the same of that of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Over 100,000 credentialized practitioners that studied a lifetime on this. We are herbivores. We thrive as children, as athletes. If you're black or white or purple or trans or a little person, it doesn't matter who you are. You will thrive on a vegan diet because you are an herbivore. But veganism is not a diet. It's not about health. It's a philosophy of living in line with your own values of leaving animals alone. Because you don't have the ethics of a child molesting pedophile, in my own words. Taking advantage of the most vulnerable and innocent individuals. It's seeing the value that they have inherently for being sentient and conscious and aware and self-aware. They deserve dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood. Not commodified, objectified, turned into a number, a sandwich, profit, literal shit. We have 0 omnivorous instincts, 0 carnivorous instincts. The sight of blood and guts is disgusting to everybody. We don't get excited and hungry like a shark or an alligator when we see blood. If you want to prove me wrong, I'll give you 2 challenges afterwards. Please do so if you want. Oh, by the way, there's no claws on the human hand. Claws are a trademark of the carnivore and the omnivore. I could literally go on for hours about how you're an herbivore. I got a challenge for you. No weapons, tools, or cages. No one's allowed to be a cheater or a fake meat eater in this challenge. If you really think that you're an omnivore, put that carnivore speed into effect that everybody has. Spot a squirrel, chase them down, catch the squirrel in your mouth. No weapons, tools, or cages. You cannot season them or pick which body parts you want to eat or cook them. I want you to go ahead and eat your victim. Brains, flesh, fur, eyes, nose, toes. If you're real meat eaters, you'd have absolutely no problem eating pigeons and squirrels for breakfast. Challenge number 2, take a 2-year-old child, place the child in a crib with a live bunny rabbit and an apple. If the child kills and eats the bunny rabbit and plays with the apple, let me know, will you? I might consider things a little differently. But these things cannot and will not be happening because when we're born young and growing up, we're all born vegan. We just acquire a taste for meat, cheese, milk, eggs, and honey once they're forced down our throats throughout childhood. Now, all I'm asking you to do is something normal and natural anyways. Eat what comes from the earth. Every vitamin, mineral, nutrient, potassium, iron, all the B vitamins, they have an original source, and it ain't your victims, the animals. People say be strong like an ox, you gotta eat an ox, forgetting that an ox eats grass. You are aware that we eat the cows after the cows have eaten the grass and some of the soil. Protein is only synthesized by plants. All nutrients come from plants. So stop filtering your nutrients to somebody else's body. It's illogical and irrational. Go to those sources directly. You can get it processed, or you can just have the raw 60,000 plant species, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, berries, legumes, aquatic vegetables, herbs and spices, mushrooms. These things cannot harm you, cannot cause a disease, and more importantly, they harm nobody else in the process. But when you consume who flies, who swims, and who walks, that is abnormal. Where does everybody think diseases come from? COVID, MERS, SARS, AIDS, HIV, COVID. None of these would exist, even the common cold, without animal agriculture in the vegan world. Or you think disease comes from broccoli, spinach, tomatoes, cucumbers, raspberries, strawberries, grapes, bananas? Before anyone's wondering about those pesky little E. coli and salmonella contaminations that happen a few times a year with the vegetables, let's keep in mind the one and only source of E. coli and salmonella is shit. Human animal shit or non-human animal shit. Spinach does not shit. Peanuts do not shit. And broccoli does not shit. So let's stop blaming the plant products whenever there's an E. coli salmonella contamination. That's the fault of the meat-eating society. Why? Well, we want billions of slaves to be eating, so we mass produce billions of slaves. Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with God or evolution anymore. This is a business. Smithfield, Conagra, Purdue, Tyson, Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King. That's why we have animal agriculture classes in college. When we breed billions of land animals, they produce trillions of tons of manure. That stuff gets caught up in the waterways, or there's runoff into the crops, or they're spraying feces contaminated water directly onto the crops. Now, most of our main diseases, heart diseases, heart attack and stroke, most of the cancers, prostate cancer, colon cancer, pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, kidney disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, high blood pressure, obesity, asthma, 4 main factors that cause this. Now, I know you can get sick from other places, smoking, drinking, stress, chemicals in the environment, high fructose corn syrup, Twinkies, and alcohol. But the 4 main factors that cause people to get sick and die are found inside meat, cheese, milk, eggs, and honey. Cholesterol, saturated fat, trans fatty acids, and animal protein. I repeat, that last one that's killing everyone is animal protein. Are you aware that when animal protein enters the human body, it makes your blood acidic, but it can't stay acidic for long or else you die, so your body has to leach out phosphate from your bones to neutralize the acidity, which means you pee out the calcium. Between 2 to 9% of all meat and all dairy is naturally comprised of trans fatty acids. Now, sometimes people know I'm coming in ahead and they'll show me a study and they'll say, oh, I got a study here that disproves everything you told us here today. What's up with that? Well, for every study you can produce showing that human beings need meat, cheese, milk, eggs, and honey, I'll produce 2 showing that meat, cheese, milk, eggs, and honey are the #1 killers of human beings. That's why Harvard says that vegans are younger by 10 years and live 10 years longer. They avoid the top 15 killers of death. It's because we're herbivores. We're not meant to be eating the bodies of dead individuals. But we both know medical studies can be manipulated either way, so you even got a heavy 2-to-1 edge on this. I say toss them all out because you don't need them. All you need to do is pay attention and look around this meat, cheese, milk, egg eating society that we all live in. So how many of your friends and family members have already died from a disease or are starting to die from a disease already? I can't be the only one affected by this. My grandfather died of a heart attack, grandma died of a stroke, Uncle Jack died of a heart attack. Last October on the 15th, I got a call around midnight that my father has just passed away from a heart attack. My mom, she's got asthma. My stepdad's got heart disease so badly he takes 7 pills for breakfast. My best friend Darren, 4 of his aunts and uncles were my age. They were nearly 40 when they died from diabetes. His ex-girlfriend Dion has breast cancer, and his current girlfriend Rita has ovarian cancer. And last night, I shit you not, my girlfriend just found out that her father has prostate cancer. Now, what is the one thing that we all have in common with each other besides the air we breathe and the water we drink? Animal products, all day long, meat, cheese, milk, and eggs. Now, again, I know you can blame some of the ailments on environmental pollution, But how in the world, like cancer, but how in the world are you going to blame heart disease, heart attacks and stroke, obesity, osteoporosis on environmental pollution? Look, I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to show you who's killing you. I'm going to show you who's lying to you too. Flat out, bald-faced lies. It's come to an agreement on the dairy industry, according to them, and if I'm wrong about this, please let me know. The main reason the dairy industry exists is so that you can get calcium. Fair? Is that not their entire claim? Strong bones, strong body, milk does the body good. Got milk? Check it out with the Department of Agriculture. Aside from India, we consume the most amount of dairy on the planet right here. We put cheese in every nook and every cranny of every single food item. We put it inside the pizza crust now. And if you are lucky enough to find maybe a salad without the cheese, what's the first thing that people say to the server? Hey, can I get some ransom Thousand Island? Can you put some dairy on these vegetables for me? So in this society where everybody is hooked on cheese, and I mean hooked, it gets been laced with weed, crack, ecstasy, morphine, and the antidote, most people can't fathom one meal, let alone one day or a lifetime without cheese. Even lactose intolerant people eat cheese. I don't care what anybody says about this. They might avoid straight up cow's milk. But slap a double cheese pepperoni pizza in front of a lactose intolerant person, no hesitation. It's going down the hatch. So we got all these animal products going in our diets. You ever wonder why, if they're so healthy for us, we have no less than 3 TV commercials for calcium supplements? Actonel, Boniva, Citracal. Why do we even have osteoporosis at all if we're eating all the super healthy milk and meat? How come at the vitamin stores or Costco, Walmart, or Superstore, you have entire sections devoted to nutrition with a whole shelf devoted to calcium? I thought we were getting calcium from all the animal products. That's what the meat and dairy people told us. Newsflash, you do not. There are 4 commercials for fiber: Metamucil, Fibercon, Fibersure, Benefiber. Somebody ate a freaking apple or a pear once in a while, nobody would need help taking a poo-poo. Now pay attention, look around and see what's going on. Now with all this being said, we've established the reasons why people eat meat, cheese, milk, and eggs: habit, tradition, convenience, and taste. Yeah, I know why people do it. I did it myself for a really long time. And by the way, check out the website 88ptt.org, adapt.org. Look at all about veganism, environment. Root cause of world hunger is non-vegan societies, meat-eating societies. Every year, we set aside 85% of our grains to feed 100 billion land animals, instead of using those crops directly to feed 9 billion human beings. Now, you don't need to be Einstein to figure out this equation. If we can feed a cow that consumes 20 times the oats, wheat, and soy that a human does, we can definitely just feed the human beings directly. 80% of the world's usable land goes towards feeding animals that we do not even need to breed into existence. And by the way, you want to look this up when you're looking up all the other lies about the dairy industry. You might want to look up about all the pus in your cow's milk. When you hook up machines to the udders of cows day after day, 3 times a day, to suck them dry of 40 liters, about a bathtub full, those machines cause massive amounts of infections on the inside and outside of the udders. It's called mastitis, and about 80% of cows have this. The machines don't know what not to suck out. Blood, pus, mucus, and infection all goes down with your milk. And yeah, I know milk is pasteurized, but that's not a removal process. We are only sanitizing pus. Just so you know, our government, the Department of Agriculture, allows 1 eyedropper full of pus for every glass of cow's milk. And for every glass of cow's milk you have, some calf out there is not. It's literally stealing candy from a baby. Except it's breast milk from a calf that gets formula. Or if they're lucky enough to be born a male, standard legal industry practice in Canada that they're doing right now, 20-minute drive from here in Richmond, is the male cows get a sledgehammer to the face to execute them on the first day on a dairy farm, because as we all know, boys do not produce milk, just like boys do not produce eggs. So on the egg farms, for every female chick you see, there's a male chick that was suffocated in a garbage bag because male chicks do not produce eggs. How come when I talk about mock meats, like, I don't know, Gardein, stuffed turkey, fake and bacon, like whatever the fuck, like seitan, tofu, tempeh, people always wrinkle up their noses, make big wide eyes, start glancing at people next to them. Soy chicken, soy turkey, is this guy crazy? He must be out of his mind. How come this stuff that's made out of rice, soy, wheat, hemp, oats, plants, it's considered gross and disgusting to everybody, but meat, it's got 5 components. Let me break it down for you. Blood, flesh, veins, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. The cut up corpse of a dismembered body, severed thighs, mutilated breasts, somebody else's rib cage sitting on your plate isn't considered gross and disgusting to everybody? How in the world is a beverage, a liquid that oozes out of the mammary glands of another being? And by the way, does anyone know what an egg from a hen is? It's not an embryo or aborted fetus. It's unfertilized, so it can't be either. Hen is a female, though. An egg through a female system once a month. It's part of her menstruation cycle. People scramble up hen periods in the morning, and all of a sudden I'm weird because I don't make omelets anymore. What about vomit? You guys love vomit. We're going to take those blinders off today. You adore it all over your food. But no one's going to buy and eat vomit unless we give it a pretty name and call it honey instead. Look it up with any wildlife biologist. Honey comes directly from the stomach of a bee. It's regurgitated right through a bee's mouth. But nobody wants bee vomit nut Cheerios. We want honey nut Cheerios instead. So we play euphemism games and lie to ourselves. The standard diet of a non-vegan is blood, flesh, veins, muscles, tendons, ligaments, cow secretions, pus, bee vomit, and hen periods. And I'm not done yet. Not while I got you here today. You know how we top this all off, in my opinion? Every October and December, during the holidays that people love so much, we like to take a dead turkey, open up a dead turkey's bum or carve out a really big hole in their bum, take some stuff in and shove it inside their bum, and use their dead, empty, bacteria-laden ass as an oven to make some bread, ass bread. And people think vegans are weird because we eat berries and tofu and legumes. Look, I'm not here to be your enemy. I am here to call you out, though. You may have had a pretty good excuse of being uninformed and misinformed before I got here. Okay, that's fair. Honestly, I was the same for a long time. Even the smartest people in the world have not figured this out yet. But I'm curious, knowing that every animal is an individual that deserves dignity, rights, freedom, and respect to be treated in the spirit of brotherhood because they are sentient, just like us, with personhood, and that human beings are herbivores. We get sick when we eat animal products. What's your excuse now? You have a choice when you leave to be radically kind. You want to just listen, or you have a question? Yeah, what's up, man?
Are you an influencer?
Something like that. Are you 18 or?
Yeah, I'm 18, yeah.
So
Where are you?
Doesn't no one? Oh, there's 2 people watching. Whatever. It's like a tiny thing.
Why are you vegan?
I just realized that every animal. I was wrong. Animals are just as conscious as we are. They're individuals, and we're herbivores, so we don't need to do it. And with those 2 things, obviously, I just want to be peaceful.
How are we herbivores with our pH in our stomach? How is that a herbivore pH to degrade meat?
Yeah. Our saliva is alkaline, so is our urine. Meat eaters like hyenas, bears, coyotes, lions, tigers, they have acidic saliva, and their livers are alkaline when ours is acidic. So everything's backwards. You can look at the mechanistic data, like, we see in full color. You've heard a million times, cats and dogs are colorblind. We see in full color, so we can tell.
My main concern with veganism, there's plenty, but if you just ignore the philosophy, if you just look at purely scientific, the nutrients in vegan foods, the lack of thereof, the anti-nutrients, the toxins found in plants, which are plant defense chemicals. And if you just look at it, it's very suboptimal for human health because it lacks a lot of essential nutrients like vitamin A, the retinol that needs to be converted from beta-carotene, vitamin D, which is an animal hormone, B12, which is found in bacteria consumed by animals. Supplementing it is many of those supplements that vegans really rely on, base their diet on, mostly come from food waste and are there is a dissolved with a solvent that derives from petrol and chemicals, and it's all business for these supplements to be profitable, right? And many of these vegans, they rely on these supplements because they have the many deficiencies, right? Many of these animal hormones lacking B12, retinol,
I understand.
K2,
I understand.
You know, so how would that be optimal for human health when they're all very important for health?
You mentioned about 20 things. I could shoot through them super fucking fast, or I could just kind of like conquer it all. But really, what you're doing is, first off, you're overlooking the thing we kind of started earlier about us being herbivores. It kind of just rolled off your shoulders. We evolved from monkeys. We literally have to cook our meat. We literally die if we eat raw meat.
What do you mean we die from raw meat? I've eaten raw meat plenty of times. It's normal in plenty of cultures.
Do you eat raw chicken, raw beef?
Oh, raw chicken? Yeah. Pasture-raised raw chicken, it's perfectly fine if it's fed on our diet.
So tell me this. Why is it you can go in a restaurant in Canada and you can order a blue rare steak, but you cannot in Canada legally order a blue rare hamburger patty?
You can. It's just
no, you can't.
It's just the social norms see it differently.
It's literally illegal, and your restaurant will literally get shut down. It's because it's true. I've worked in the industry.
For ground beef.
Yeah.
Because the idea is it has more surface area.
Yes.
And that's all. But
hey, what's that mean?
Well, theoretically, if it's infested with bacteria and it's not handled properly and the animal is sick, if the animal is sick, exactly.
So where's all this sickness coming from? Broccoli, tomatoes?
Well, from being fed a grain, a non-pasture diet. Listen, for all these animals that you have conserved eating raw, which I do, I'm not going to eat factory-raised meat. They're crammed into these environments, stored in environment. They're fed shit food. They're not fed their natural food, and then they get sick. Of course, if you consume a sick animal, you're gonna consume its sickness. That's logic, right?
So cows eat grass. 80% of our wheat in the world is for them. Corn, soy, oats. These things do not have diseases. The reason they have diseases is because we are not meant to be eating them. You could just look up Harvard. The top 15 leading killers of human beings are avoided by being vegan. You sound really smart. You definitely have a twinkle in your eye. And you know the disadvantage of being smart? And
I'm not smart, I'm just knowledgeable.
No, you're really smart, man. I talk to a lot of people. Your IQ's easily above 120. Seriously.
No, but like,
no, I'm not trying to butter you up. Like you're too smart. And what happens is you and I get this as well. I can convince myself to do evil things because I can outsmart these arguments. But I'm gonna tell you this. I can literally debunk every argument. Like for instance, the B12.
fortified food.
To say that you are eating animals to get B12.
Well, it's a very
because you're avoiding supplements is like saying that you're taking supplements to avoid taking supplements because 99% of all B12 produced in the entire world goes towards these animals. So they get injected because no animal produces B12. Obviously, it's been sanitized out of our...
I disagree with that.
No, you have a phone, you can Google it. 99% of all B12 goes in the animals. Without those injections, they don't get it. So you take supplements.
That's not true. B12,
yeah, you do.
B12 comes from bacteria in soil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they get it from the soil.
And there's thiocobalamin and methylcobalamin, so you can take it naturally, or you can have it synthetically, which it mostly is. So you're taking B12 supplements through somebody else's body.
That is if they're injected with B12.
Which all of them are. It actually, legally, they have to be fortified foods.
Well,
so all milk is fortified with B12.
That goes back to animals not being handled properly and given injections, vaccines, not good living conditions, bad food. All that I disagree with. I agree for a good pasture-raised animal, non-vaccinated, and fed its natural diet, which is going to preserve its health, and it's going to make you healthy as well, and you consume it in its raw form. Raw form, obviously, we can go heat-sensitive vitamins in its raw form. It's the most bioavailable. It has the most nutrients, so it's always the optimal to consume its raw form, right? And as I mentioned, they get it from the soil, right? So even a cow that's not injected with B12, they're still going to have B12 if they're eating their natural diet, which is going to get the B12.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So
but you're still overlooking that most even the supplements that are purchased off the shelves are going towards, who doesn't have a kid that grew up eating like Flintstones gummies or multivitamins?
Yeah.
This system isn't designed for sick vegans. Those are not vegans dying in the hospitals. Again, Harvard, you can check all these quotes. Vegans stay younger 10 years. I'm in my 40s, man. Like
40s. How long have you been?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, so you almost freeze your aging. In fact, do you know?
Aging.
No, you don't. But if you look at Brian Johnson,
he uses makeup and he looks extremely old.
Who cares?
Brian Johnson.
It's in the science.
And he takes 40 pills a day.
Who cares?
And he follows a vegan diet, not because it's optimal, because he was traumatized as a kid while hunting with his dad, right?
No.
He's not going about it in an optimal way.
It's because he follows the science. If the science told him to drink milk all day, he would drink milk all day.
What science shows that vegan diet?
You can look it up. It's open source. Okay. It's all on his website, Blueprint.
Be honest with me, okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, put philosophy away. Look at nutrient contents and the nutrients in vegan foods.
Yep.
Be totally honest with me. Yep. It's not comparable to animal foods.
Not at all, because plants are superior. Again, you can Google this, ask AI. The average plant has 63 times the antioxidants that meat does.
Yeah, you're naming antioxidants.
Yeah, because it's something you mentioned earlier.
But like, I can pull up a sheet, everything right now, and show you in your face. But like, I think you know this.
Yeah, I've seen them.
But I think you know this yourself. But I don't know why you're not admitting it. But we know the nutrient quantity between vegan foods and animal foods. Animal foods is superior. It has much more of it. Like, for example, you would have to eat to meet your daily requirement of a certain thing, and a plant food that lacks thereof, you need to eat a super physiological amount.
No.
Compared, okay.
If Dr. McGregor, head of the Cancer Society, says if you reach your calories, if you 2,000 or you get enough protein.